He's married now, Tony.
Stolen from Kingston Hospital. Come on. Okay. I know this speech has to compete with those two. However, I'm afraid people are here today under a misunderstanding. People are here today under a misunderstanding.
This guy's a paramedic.
Ladies and gentlemen, some of you have come here today under the impression that we're here to celebrate the marital bonding of Samantha Walters, nee Gudgeon, and James Margaret Walters, nee Dobby. Some of you are here to commiserate with Sam following her drunken agreement to marry James in the first place. Okay, a lot of you. There are also, I see, a few colleagues here from the London Ambulance Service who are here after hearing the words alcohol and free food. However, no, just the free food. However, ladies and gentlemen, the true reason we are here today is to finally prove Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection. Tonight, learned friends, esteemed colleagues, plus ones, we're broadcasting live across the globe to every channel to present to the world the missing link that connects primitive ape to modern day man. Yes. Be amazed. Be astonished. You may be a little bit incontinent, but that's okay. It's okay, we all are sometimes. Viewers with a weak disposition or with photosensitive epilepsy may wish to look away now. I proudly present, for your pleasure, nay, amusement, tonight, and only tonight, Homo erectus ridiculus. Don't be afraid. It's quite harmless. Note the vacant look on its face. Take a moment to ponder what could possibly be going through its tiny, tiny mind. See how the eyes seem to follow you around the room. We saw fit to clothe it today to minimize any embarrassment or indeed nausea. At this strange stage of evolution, observe that ears have developed to aid the holding up of hats. This magnificent nose astonishingly has no olfactory senses, meaning he has no sense of smell. We feel this development is due to an overactive bowel, causing its constant expulsion of methane gas. Isn't that right, Sam? Together with excessive perspiration, indeed, sweating like a diabetic in an ice cream factory. We believe the size of this fabulous protrusion is equated to status and social standing amongst its species. And if we're correct, I believe we may be in the presence of monkey man royalty. Here we go. I've been given a few messages to read out. The first one is from James's old football team. This one's for Sam, actually. It just says, we've tried James in every possible position. Naughty-minded people out there, aren't you? We found him equally useless in all of them. Better luck on your honeymoon. This is my favourite. This is to James. Congratulations to our best client. That's all the staff at Kingston Clap Clinic. Definitely don't read that out before the wedding, they said. This is a strange one. It says, it may have just been one drunken night to you, but it meant something to me. We could have been so good together. That's just like Marcus. I assume it's not that one. Sam, I think everyone will agree looks beautiful. Yeah. Come on now. Merry Christmas. Even James has scrubbed up quite well. Although with the hat, he looks like the Artful Dodger from Oliver Twist. I've only known James for 5 years. We met at work and became friends straight away. We rock climb together, amongst other things, and we constantly make each other laugh, though usually at each other, if we're going to be honest. We were briefly crewmates on an ambulance. They promised it permanent, and it lasted a week. We hope to be crewmates again. Well, I do at the moment. James might not after this. I wouldn't change a single thing about him, and know we'll always be the best of friends. I feel it's a great honour to be able to stand here today, and James will hopefully be forgiving of the abuse given to him. I have the deepest respect for anyone who can wheelie a wheelchair using one hand while upside down. Find a wheelchair, it's worth a look. James and Sam make a great couple, and should both feel very lucky to have each other. I was once told a secret to a successful marriage by an elderly gentleman. This is a true story. A 90-year-old fellow, 90-odd, on an ambulance. Been married for 70 years. He told me the first 40 years was hell on earth. But after that, she got Alzheimer's. That's what he told me. Can't remember a damn thing he's ever done wrong. And his hearing's gone anyway, so... Yeah. Marital bliss. Also, Sam, never let James in the kitchen. You already know this. Along with no sense of smell, he has no sense of flavour. So even if the meal looks good, there's no telling what it might taste like. Any time you feel like giving him the benefit of the doubt on this, remember that this is the guy who once tried to make cheese on toast by lying the toaster on its side and shoving some cheese-covered bread in there. I hear Blue Watch at certain fire stations still joke about it to this day. Now, James reads biographies. And with that in mind, well, he looks at the pictures. With this in mind, I'd like to finish with a biographical poem. The Ode to James Walters. It was going to be a song, but my piano's in the wash. Oh, hell no. I've been advised to add a legal disclaimer to reduce offensiveness. So this story is based on facts. Any similarity to fictitious events or characters is purely coincidental. Twas a cold, misty evening in March '87. Linda was nervous, but David was driven. Both driven and driving his old Ford Capri. Made that up, I don't know what you're driving. To advance the downs on the B283. Check the map. Away from the lights and the bustle of Cheam, they slowed, confirming they hadn't been seen. They turned from the road down a dark, winding track. Too narrow to turn, there was no turning back. The track rose and fell and continued to wind. Urban high-rises now fell far behind. The couple pulled through a small gap on the right and drove to the back, far, far out of sight.
Really? News for me.
They turned off the engine and turned off the lights to allow for their eyes to adjust to the light. They wound up the windows and locked themselves in. The clock, they noted, said 10:15, which is why I'm doing this stupid accent, because otherwise that doesn't rhyme. All right. It turns a little bit Indian in a minute, I get that.
Well, probably Welsh.
I'm frightened, said Linda. David was too, but they longed for something different to do. Pubs, clubs and discos they'd found such a bore, till spied on the back of a pub toilet door an invite for that very Saturday night. Adventure for eagle young couples' delights. a crudely drawn map with a promise of frolics, and a little stick man with enormous great feet. The fog lifted up in the right time it seemed for David and Linda to flash their full beam. And strangers emerged and crowded all sides. And 9 short months later, James Walters arrived. With a tiny pink face and a tiny pea brain, and a nose ideal to smoke in the rain. And small, pink and wrinkly, the size of a bean. And some things never change, if you know what I mean. At school, he discovered a flair for the arts. Well, he mastered the art of lighting his farts. His parents at 12 moved house to Cheam. James worked this out when turning 15. But Linda and David still had such high hope, although little David was still quite a dope. A lawyer, a doctor, a vet if he must, but the tit backed a job for an NHS trust. With a big yellow taxi, he drives really fast to pick up your nan when she falls on her ass. Or your kid with a temperature covering sick, or blood, snot, or urine poo, take your pick. The hours are bad and the wages they suck, but James could never believe his good luck when big brown eyes and long dark hair smiled his way and caught his stare. What he didn't know when she looked his way was, like everyone else, she thought he was gay. And this was the reason she lowered her guard and thought the whole thing was just a charade. But he swore that day to make her his bride and tried his best to get inside her head to see how he could sway her mind to make her feel that way. He wooed her with tales of his modelling career, which never took off with that nose and those ears. And some of you out there may feel that that's sad, but at least he got offered the PG Tips ad. He begged and he pleaded until she said yes, with bribes of a diamond and a lovely white dress. And now here he sits with his lovely new wife, and we wish you a happy and long married life. Yeah.